with the Faithful Sidekicks. Today I'm going to talk to you about a lovely dice game called Sushi Roll. Here, let me show you the whole box. Sushi Roll. This is the dice game variant of Sushi Go, which has been around for years, created by Phil Walker Harding, and has been very popular. And the dice game, so normally I think of dice games as a travel version because I think of them as smaller components, and in theory this could be, because this large box has a lot of wasted space. As you can see, there's a bag with dice in it, and I've already pulled out some, and a few sets of tokens to keep track of things in the game, and then these boards, and that's about it. In fact, that is it with these boards as well. The reason I am so fond of this, and I don't remember if I've actually talked about the card game Sushi Go yet, but Sushi Roll brings something to our table that I just really love, and that is it plays wonderfully two-player. I believe there is a two-player variant for Sushi Go, but it's really meant for 3 or more. So Sushi Roll, the dice game here, is for 2 to 5 players, and it plays very quickly. There's drafting and set collection elements to the gameplay. In a 2-player game, each player will draw 8 dice from the bag, and that is their dice for the round. Then they will each roll their dice and choose one to keep for themselves. And I just changed the result on something. Choose one to keep for themselves. And the dice have different colors, but the board will show you exactly what a given color of die has on it as possible options. So, for instance, if you actually get the hot sauce, whose name I've forgotten already, and I just looked this up, so if you get a wasabi, you need that one early, because if you get it late, it's likely not going to be useful to you at all. But early, that means you have dipping sauce for later, possibly getting some nigiri in, which makes the nigiri more valuable. Each of the different types of dice have different types of items on them, and they score differently. But the player boards actually tell you not only how often the different symbols are available, but how you score each type of symbol. For instance, whoever has the most maki rolls gets points. So on that one, you're comparing, I wound up with a total of 5 maki rolls, and my opponent only had 3, so I get the points for the maki rolls, whereas sets of tempura, it doesn't matter what my opponent has, they're just scored based on how many tempura I have, up to 3 tempura per set. Same with dumplings or the sashimi, which are really valuable. You can have the nigiri, the maki rolls, these dice have the dumplings and sashimi and tempura on them. The green die have the wasabi and menus and chopsticks. They're special items I'll get to in just a moment. And then there's desserts. So most of this stuff you're scoring every round, and there's 3 rounds in the game. Desserts you just score at the end. That's why you've got tokens here, so you can actually keep track of how many desserts you collect in a round. But here's how this goes. We each rolled, we each picked 1 die to keep, and then the rest go on our conveyor, and let's do that one. And then they get the conveyor belt here, all goes to the next person to your left. And then everyone rolls their 7 dice and chooses 1. If, however, you just did not get the roll you want, well, you start with a few menus. Menus let you re-roll, so you can re-roll your dice and see if you get something better. And there's also chopsticks, which let you swap with someone else. So let's say my opponent here is really trying to collect up a good collection of sashimi, and let's say that I actually rolled one. There is a nominative start player for every roll, and it's whoever has this particular conveyor belt that has a red border around it. And so if that person wants, in this case my opponent, wants to swap, they can take the sashimi and give me a nigiri from their board, or whatever. Any of these tokens that you don't use are worth a half a point at the end of the game. And otherwise you use tokens to keep track of your points from round 1, from round 2, from round 3, and you add up. So it's a very easy to learn game. The biggest deal is the iconography on the dice, but again, your player board shows you exactly what those icons are and what their value is. So it's a very quick to learn game. It's a lot of fun, and there's, I think of it as a little bit of a push your luck element because you're rolling dice and trying to collect sets, but you better hope that you roll well or that you have more of those rerolls. So I highly recommend this game. If you like Sushi Go, you will probably also like Sushi Roll, which is this one. And like I said, in this day and age where you're still dealing with social distancing or lockdown, having a game that you can play just 2-player and works really well without having to have special extra rules is really nice. And this one works really well 2-player, but can still expand up to 5. So highly recommended.
And when the big guy is down